Hi, this is Dennis from A Fresh Endeavor, and we are going to be making duck. We're going to take a whole duck and we are going to cook it in the oven, but it's not going to be your conventional way that you usually see, and I will explain in a few minutes. First thing we're going to do is I have a fresh duck here. I'm going to remove this additional fat that is here, and we'll put it right there. We don't want that. So you take out the little package here. Package of goodies. You have liver, you have a heart, duck heart, and gizzards. Most people throw them away. I don't. I use them. Even if it's nothing more than cooking it in a duck stock and eating them later. The next part is I'm going to place it in a dish here. I'm going to take some type of citrus. I like to use lemon. I like to use orange. So I'm going to take those and I'm going to put them inside the cavity. It's going to flavor it with some nice citrus. We're not going to be eating these. We're just sticking them in the cavity to absorb. You can also put things like herbs in there. You can put parsley. You can put whatever you want in there. Next, salt. Pepper. Use a little pepper there. And I'll put nice cold water into it. And I fill it up, I would say about maybe a third of the way. Now this is as far as I'm going to go here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some foil and I'm going to cover it. Try to keep it away from the duck itself if I can help it. And let it puff up a little bit there so it's not touching the duck. I'm cooking the duck, but I don't want to brown the duck at this time. It's going to brown later. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to close it off, I'm going to put it into a 400-degree oven for an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, and we're going off into the oven now. And we are back. This was in a 400-degree oven. It took about an hour and 40 minutes. So it's going to take anywhere from about an hour and a half to hour 45 minutes, maybe even a little bit beyond. It all depends on the size of the bird and how your oven is acting. So let's take a look at it. Ooh, look at that. So, first thing you'll notice is the skin is tight, but it's not brown. And that's okay. You want to make sure that you go into the thigh, leg, right against the bone, and one thing you can do, you can go with a thin knife and you can squeeze it a tiny bit and look to see if the juices run clear when it comes out. If they're pinkish, if they're red, of course it's not done. This one here was clear. Not only that, I took a meat thermometer like that and I stuck it down into it. I took it out when it hit 180 because I knew that it was fine after that. It could have gone up maybe a little tiny bit more. One of the telltale signs is that right against here, if you take this off and you see the bone protruding, it's overcooked. Now, we used to be able to use those for some things. We'd pull the meat out and use them for something else, but we couldn't use them for roasting off half ducklings. The way this looks right now is perfect. So it's done, it's tight. What that means is that a lot of the fat that's under the skin has come off. You can see it. So all of this that was inside here, that's all going to come out. And I'm going to take that and I'm just going to get rid of it. The flavor of the orange is definitely not going to hurt the fat or the broth. So that's what it's like there. It's going to cool off probably for about an hour at room temperature. I'm going to take it out of the broth and the fat and let it cool. And after it's done with that, I'm going to put it under refrigeration overnight, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I'm going to split it in two and partially bone the whole thing to get it ready for roasting. Now, the duck has been cooked, chilled overnight. This is the side that you normally cut when it's raw. We're not doing that. Look at the back. See the back there, and you've got the backbone there? That's what we're going to do. So, I'm going to show you a little better over this way on the side. You come through, just like you're cutting, I do the same thing when I'm cutting chicken. You have to go right in between, and the difference is with a duck and a chicken is that the backbone on a chicken is thinner. You have to come down if you cut right. I'm just going to take that out with something a little bit sharper. Usually you can cut right through, but for some reason this is not going there. So you want to get that out. So that's what you're left with right there. And once you get there, you can look through and you can see that there's not much left there separating the two. Now I'm going to take this and I go right through the middle and I break it almost like I would do break it right here if I was doing a spatchcock chicken. You break it to lie down. Of course, this is pre-cooked, so you don't need to do that, and it opens right up. Now you have two halves right there. First thing we're going to do is I like to take the wing off because I don't like having it on there. Let's see if I can crack it on you right here. Christine knows me well enough. There. Now you can do that. You can take this, you clean it up like that, and you could be done. But we're not done. So I'm going to do the other side same way. I save the bones. The bones are nice to have, the additional bones. You can always use them to make more duck broth.
We're going to show you some duck broth and duck fat that came off this one.
Then I'll go through back here like this and cut this. Okay, don't mangle it, Dennis. Okay, so it looks pretty good, both of them. I'm going to set this one off to the side and we're going to work on this one. Next thing I do, like I said, you can leave it like this, or you can take the bones out of the inside here. And the way you do that, first time you do it, it's not as easy. Because the tendency is to just start hacking at it and you wind up ripping the flesh, and you don't want to do that. So what I do, mostly I use my fingers to get it out. Just like that. You pull that right there, the rib cage, but you have to be real careful. Like I said, you don't want to break it in two. You want to keep it all together so it doesn't break. I know it looks kind of weird doing it this way, but it does work. I say that and I'll probably rip it up.
That's why you have the second half.
I haven't done this in years, but I used to do it.
Well, you seem to have dove right back in.
Well, I used to do it every day, so we were always roasting. You don't need all the bones out. You need most of the rib cage out. I think it's good enough. It's still intact. Most of the bones are out. You're always going to leave these bones here, but you want it to look good too. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to put it here, and work on the other one. So that's trimmed up well enough so that when we finish roasting it, and it's going to look good on a plate. And when we roast them in an oven, I'm going to put it in a 425 degree oven. It takes roughly about a half hour. It's done when all of this skin is crisp. We'll be putting that in the oven and you'll see the finished results soon. Okay, duck is out of the oven. See it right here? Half hour. Look at it. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it off to the side, and we're going to cut into one and see what it looks like. Come in between here. You separate the two. Alright, you can see that the skin on the duck is very, very crisp. Nice color. The beauty of this, the way it is cooked, is that You're taking the fat that's underneath the skin and you're rendering that out. So you do not lose the fat, you just transfer the fat into the water. The water that's in there becomes a really nice duck bone broth. And then there's fat, really nice white fat that comes out of the duck. Then when it's chilled overnight, fat rises to the top and separates from the bone broth. And then you can utilize both for whatever you would like to do. And I'm going to show a video on that shortly. But you can see the duck. The duck's nice and crisp. It's very versatile, and this is the best way that I've found to prepare this. And it comes out perfect every single time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you try this. Bye-bye now.